Hello everybody, my name is Cody Ratner. I am known online as both Prakai's Plays and DJ Code Rat. I am an electronic musician and YouTuber who's been making gaming videos for, I think I released my first YouTube video back in 2011. So I've been doing YouTube for a couple of years, almost a decade now. And I've been doing electronic music for the past 4 years, 3.5, 4 years. First got into electronic music with Skrillex and Korn, two groups I never thought would make a song together, but they did. Korn made an entire EP back in 2011 with some up-and-coming dubstep artists, Excision, Skrillex, and the likes. I didn't listen to it until 2015, 2016. It was a while before I started getting into electronic music entirely. Though Skrillex and Korn are the two reasons I got into electronic music production. Back before then, I was very heavy into classic rock, like Queen, AC/DC, Kiss, and I had tried to be in rock bands before, but they had never really worked out. So that's just a little bit of backstory to my music. I now produce electronic music. I have bounced around a couple of different genres. I'm currently doing future bounce, which is a subgenre of house. It's a mixture of house and future bass, and you will be hearing that over here, which is an unreleased track. That is my first future bounce release. So let's get started with the first song I ever made, Xeno. A little bit about Xeno. It was made using heavily Helm, the synthesizer Helm, which is a free VST, as well as a few other free instruments, and was built into the Ableton Live Lite DAW. Like, I didn't have FL at the time. I didn't have anything at the time for music production. Everything was built into Ableton or free to use on the internet. So this was at a time when I was going for a Moon Boy style alien kind of music, and it somewhat sounds like that. And especially over here with this, that is a Xenomorph sample that I pulled. So let's go ahead and hear the song. I think that's a sample as well, though I'm not 100% sure about that. This is what technically would be the drop in the song. It didn't have much of it, but structure-wise, this is what the drop would be. Then it gets to this, which I think was a built-in sound to the synthesizer. I'm skipping over that because it's giving me a bit of a headache. And then it transitions, that fades out. There's the Xenomorph cry. So that was the first song I ever actually composed as an electronic musician. Like I said, it's not a lot. It's barely anything at all. Next, as you can see by the title, KSI Net Nobody Disc War Mix. This is something that I made uniquely myself. I took the music videos for the KSI diss track at Net Nobody and Net Nobody's diss track at KSI. I cut them up and I pasted them together with no transition whatsoever, so it doesn't, the transitions aren't good at all, and it actually sounds terrible. But again, this is experimentation. This is the first time I've ever used the software. I had never done anything like this, and I never did it again.
He's a very positive person. I want to meet him. I want to be like, hey, Callie, DJ Callie, come give me a hug. Eat them hay whites. Hey, thanks, bro.
And this you're gonna really wanna kill me. And this
Like
you're
I said,
really gonna feel me.
transitions
Never
aren't
miss
that
whenever
good.
suckers wanna grill me. So remiss, I gotta kill it.
Took it up, but turned my losses into learning. In it, and I'm earning.
I didn't really wanna do this. So my fans be saying who this, but I really wanna view this. No, you're dying when I shoot this.
Listen, difference between me and you.
I tried to pick specific disses at each other and their counters. So that's how this was structured.
Nigga, 1 7 million still one bigger. I don't care about your bank
There
report.
would
These are never
be a
paid
diss,
just for boy, but everyone say that you ain't even paying that. In the game, so you never.
There was no counter diss to that. I go with the next diss and back and forth like that. That's how I structured it.
Pull the trigger. You should never try.
I don't really need to play that all the way through. You know how that goes. So my next song, I had taken some lessons in music production, so I actually knew how Ableton worked, and I was now in the Ableton Live Standard. Before I had been Live 9 Lite, now I'm in Live 10 Standard. So I believe I used Serum for this because I pirated it back then. I have it legit now. I mean, all musicians pirated it back then. So this was made, I think primarily with Serum and Cymatic samples that I could get my hands on. I don't remember much about this song other than it was the first song that I had made that actually had like a drop in it. It's got a little bit of volume automation. Risers. This is not a mastered song, nor was this mixed in any way whatsoever. So this was back when I first actually started implementing drops. Keep in mind that these are randomly chosen. These are not in any specific order. They're in the order that they were released. I think this is a rhythm drop, actually.
Turn up the bass.
Yeah, it's a rhythm drop. That's a wobble, actually. So that was actually a wobble. So back at this time, I was into making dubstep. I actually had proper structuring for this. And it was pretty good. Up next is Dub War, and Dub War is one of my least favorite tracks I ever composed. I used a loop in the intro and then transitioned into sampling, which does not sound good. But at this point, I had music production. I'd been taking lessons as a producer at Guitar Center. So I knew what I was doing. So I knew how to structure a dubstep song. And yeah, like I said, this part right here is a loop. And then it transitions into a sample. I should have kept this specific part for the drop, but I didn't. mean, it's not bad. And then it goes ahead and transitions. If I had to do anything with this track, I would definitely add more atmosphere. It's very blank. And this wasn't on many layers, so it doesn't sound as good. My hi-hats are a little sporadic on this track. I'd use a simpler, put the hi-hats in put the hi-hats in the simpler. And use an I put the hi-hats in the simpler and use an arpeggiator to go ahead and create the sounds. I was using the Rhythm Dubstep Weapons sample pack for this, I remember that. I'm not sure where that sample came from. So moving on to the next one, Into the Snow. Depending on the version of this song, because there were two versions. The original version was gonna be a hard style song. Of course, at the time I knew nothing of hard style, just that it was something I liked. This is either the hard style version, I'm not 100% certain it is, or it's the melodic. You know, sounded more like meditation music. I didn't listen to it before I downloaded it. So let's hear it. This is actually the hard style version. At the time, I had no idea. I'm going to turn down the mixer. At the time, I had no idea that hardstyle songs did not have a drum and bass or a drum loop in it. It's got a very classic hard style kind of kick pattern. At the time I didn't know to layer my kicks and to use multiple kicks. So the next song I think is a dubstep. Yep, so this is after I had purchased the massive synthesizer, which I do not regret buying, by the way. That's one of my favorite synthesizers. So this was after I purchased Massive, and I took a lesson in dubstep production. This is also the first song I ever wrote in FL Studio. So let's go ahead and check this out. This was actually going to be released by a label. The problem is, I had already released it, so I couldn't release it under the label. Oh wait, no, I made this in Ableton. Yeah, I recognize this drop. This was a heavy growl drop that I had made. And this was at the time where I would just duplicate tracks over. And I would put very little structure in my music whatsoever. I also had this ping-ponging back and forth, the main lead. And for those of you wondering, yes, that is an Excision sample. I went ahead and pulled an Excision track and went ahead and used it in the music. So I'm going to go ahead and pull over SoundCloud because I want to just play one of my hardstyle songs. So this is the behind the scenes. You'll notice that there are a lot of locked songs. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. This is an unreleased remix that I did. So this is a euphoric hardstyle song I made. You'll notice that it's a lot better. Yep, okay, so that was one of my hardstyle songs that I've composed. That song is yet to be released. And I did not realize. Okay, that's not extra, so that's a little bit out of order because that's a more recent song than the one that we're about to listen to right now. This one was actually after I'd taken proper dubstep lessons, and I got a lot more experimental with my sound. But at the same time, I didn't really. I liked making dubstep at the time, but I wasn't like too happy with it. This is always going to be one of my favorite tracks and one of the ones I'm most proud of. You can already tell I've become so much better with this. It just sounds so much more full than a lot of my other tracks. And like I said, I'm very proud of this song. I would not change a thing about it. So again, this is another unreleased track. I am very proud of this song, but it is unreleased. The reason why is there's going to be a vocal line on here. I haven't, though it's not a finished thing. I made this song after Excision released Oxygen. It is a melodic dubstep track, yes, and I loved making this. I would not change anything about this song. Yeah. So that is by far the song I am the most proud of that I have ever composed. I love everything about that song, and I would love to release it. I just gotta finish getting the vocal lines on there. So this is the last song. This is a future bounce. So this is what I produce now. There's no guarantee I'm going to stay a future bounce producer, but as of right now, this is what I make. This is made with the Genesis Pro synthesizer, which is one of my favorites to use. Sorry about that, I'm cooking and I had to go put the stuff in. So anyways, yeah, this is something I made after taking a course on how to make house music and then making future bounds. And I use the Genesis Pro synthesizer with it. Ended up using I bypassed traditional synthesizers for Genesis Pro because in my opinion it's a newer synth, so it's understandable, but it's not as widely used as it could be. So anyways, this was my 4-year transition as a musician from my first song I ever composed to my latest. If you'd like to listen to all my songs, my SoundCloud is linked in the description below, as is my Spotify and iTunes. As always, thanks for watching.